Hey, it's Anita, and this is the Anita Posh Show. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Anita Posh Show, where it is my pleasure to keep you up to date with topics around Bitcoin on a global stage, and also the local impact it has on people like you and me. My guest today is Rarescrilla, or also known as DJ Skrilla, a hip-hop musician and producer who joined the crypto music journey in 2014 and created DJ PEPE in 2016 with a first-of-its-kind access token based on the Counterparty platform, which is extending Bitcoin's functionality. In 2020, DJ Skrilla dropped the Sound Music album, a niche hip-hop themed Bitcoin album. And now he's into programmable music, where the owners of the layers control the output. He says it's living art and music. As always, you can watch this video on YouTube or you can listen to it on the go in your favorite podcast player. Please subscribe to my show and share it with your friends. If you are representing a company or you want to sponsor my show in any other form, please contact me at hello@anitaposh.com. I have free slots for sponsors. And now, a short word from my current sponsor and then on to the show. Enjoy! Many people worry about the right storage for their Bitcoin. And yes, holding them isn't always easy. The safest way is offline, physically. That's why Coinfinity developed the card wallet, the professional and easy solution. Order it now at cardwallet.com/Anita and get 20% off. Do you want to stay up to date with the things that happen in Bitcoin from my point of view? Then subscribe to Anita's Weekly, my newsletter with articles, videos, quotes, short tips on how to use Bitcoin and all that for free. Subscribe to Anita's Weekly at anita.link/weekly. Hello, Rarescrilla. Welcome to the Anita Posh Show.
Thanks for having me, Anita. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you on. I've heard you in the Tatiana show recently. I mean, I looked it up because I was researching what you're doing and what you're interested in, and I found your podcast interview with Tatiana. And you were also talking about the fact that you also had a podcast some years ago.
Yeah.
Would you please introduce yourself to our listeners and to the audience who might not know you?
Sure, yeah. I go by Rarescrilla, also DJ Skrilla. I've been known for years in the music side of things. Kind of transitioned over to Rarescrilla the last few years as I kind of made it, the medium of crypto art and music kind of more prevalent in my work in the rarity side of things. I've been a music producer and DJ for many years. I was an artist when I was younger, stopped doing art for many years because I was just concentrated on music, and got back into art actually through blockchain because I started making assets and teaching my son how to draw, and actually just re-bloomed the whole art side of things, and I pretty much juggle both sides now, art and music, with a focus on Bitcoin and in the crypto music, crypto art space.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find out about Bitcoin in the first place? And what why were you interested in it?
I was interested in it because I was amazed that people were transacting on the Silk Road and the way it was. I just had when I first, me and my friends in 2013 or so really started joking around and like being interested in Bitcoin. One of my partners in music actually started like a PayPal type service for it that he quickly abandoned when some Bank of America branch manager that was dating our friend told him that it was not going to work, and they had a meeting, and I don't know, scared him off. And so we were like going, like our group chat was called the Bitcoin Boys and all this stuff, but it was all talk. And then I started hearing about the Silk Road more, and I just got super interested. I was looking to do a music project. I've always done like thematic music projects, and I just was like, I'm gonna dive into the Silk Road. I'm gonna make an album kind of like dedicated to it because I was just enthralled with like the way that this market could move outside of regulation. And I learned a lot about Bitcoin and like the ethics and the ethos and the cypherpunk attitude and everything about it. And the hard money, and it really got me interested in it. So yeah, we put that album out, Silk Road, in December of 2014. It took about a year to make. And during that time, I really got educated in, what I thought I knew about Bitcoin. Of course, if I went back to 2014 Skrilla, I wouldn't know much about Bitcoin, but at the time, I definitely thought I knew something. Like, it's like that meme, like, I just heard about Bitcoin, I'm here to fix it. Like, everybody comes in, gets enthralled, and it's like, oh, you can use the toaster oven to mine Ethereum and make the sidewalks talk and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody has a similar journey in a way, coming into the space, learning about Bitcoin first, and then, blockchain. Then there are so many shiny new things, what they can all do. I also fell for the, supply chain, logistics and all that stuff, what you believe at the beginning. And then when you dig into the rabbit hole more and more, I just understood money because of Bitcoin. Like, what is fiat money? I never knew that,
Yeah, I never heard it called fiat money until I got into Bitcoin.
Me too. The only thing I knew what fiat is a car manufacturer from Italy.
Yeah. Facts.
So basically in 2014, you did that Silk Road album, and it was also hip hop.
Yeah, it was kind of it was mostly like hip hop because I had some rappers on it and stuff. But it was me and two other producers who we all kind of have different styles. I kind of like, I was the head producer, and I had these two artists that I always like to work with. We had a group called Interloop, which was a label also back in the day, and I just kind of fished them in. I was like, guys, y'all want to get busy on this project? I kind of just like found out a bunch of stuff and started sending them stuff. And like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then they started learning some about it. But it was really it was a collaboration with a bunch of artists. Explaining them. Can you rap about this type of thing? Back then in 2014, like, it was very difficult to get the rappers and the writers to really do what we wanted, like talk about the Silk Road and stuff. Like, they did it in a weird, some of it very well and some of it more like loose, and it kind of ended up being like a soundtrack to the Silk Road is kind of how I deemed it. Like, if you're on the dark web, like, this is the soundtrack to that. We made it really like cinematic, but like kind of different than my style. Even like, I'm really an analog, sample based, eerie, like cinematic producer, and this was more kind of had like a newness feel to it. There's a lot of Fruity Loops being used, and I'm mostly an MPC, like analog beat maker. Yeah, but we were using a lot of computer programs, and just between all three of us, like, it was a very, like, I'd say now, like, it's a great project. I actually love it, but it's more overproduced than what I'm generally accustomed to. So it was a fun project, and people still keep coming back to it over the years and be like, how did I not hear about this? And I'm like, I don't know. We put a PR about it, and everybody got confused. And literally, back when we put it out, some magazine like Bloomberg or something tweeted it from a terminal that, oh no, because like we had a press release where it was like the FBI shuts down this album or something like that because of Silk Road and all that stuff. And so like it kind of confused the terminal at Bloomberg because they tweeted out about it. I forget what it said exactly. And then, like the Washington City paper, our local DC paper, and some other places picked it up, some hip hop sites, but it was over people's heads. And it was like one of those gift and the curse things of being so early on that stuff.
You just said did you say Fruity Loops?
Yeah, it's like a computer-based program that like, it's like everybody's like first introduction into making beats on a computer. It could be very useful, or it could be very like simple to use too sometimes.
Oh, understand. Okay. So, I like hip hop. Basically, years ago, I loved Lady Sovereign. who's a British rapper and hip hopper. And the funny thing is, back then I didn't even know, because I'm a German speaker, I didn't even know what Lady Sovereign means. And now, now I'm writing a book about being sovereign.
Wow, yeah, right. I didn't know about I remember that name. Was she like she was attached to Jay-Z in some way or something at some point, or is that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just loved her music. She stopped doing it. I don't know why. Isn't she the daughter of one of the, not the Spice Girls? No. There was another band, a very famous British band, female. I can't remember the name now. But anyhow, let's get back to you and your music. But back then in 2014, you did not mint a token like an NFT. The first thing was, I think, then in 2016. Is that right?
Yeah.
With DJ PEPE.
That was like one of my first tokens I minted. The first one I minted was called Pepe Goat, and that was I think like either very beginning October or late September 2016. And I had discovered the rare Pepes by being on Twitter and following, the Twitter personalities, and like Dan Darkpill and Theo Goodman and a couple other people started sharing these like Pepe images, and I thought they struck a chord with me for whatever reason. And I just went down like a couple days search of like I had traded Counterparty plenty and like on Poloniex and some other exchanges, but I didn't understand what you could do with XCP. So I had to like go down the rabbit hole, went to like the XCP website, like the forums, and finally discovered Telegram and jumped into the chat. And I made a rare Pepe. It was a 2 Live Crew themed rare Pepe. And one of the first things I did was throw it into the chat. And they were like, nah, it's not how this works. Like the rare Pepe scientists got to approve it. And this one has it had too much skin. Like it was basically women in bikinis. And they said it was a little too risque. So that one got denied. My first rare Pepe got denied, and Pepe Goat became my first one. And then DJ Pepe, I made a hip hop series of the 4 elements of hip hop, and I called it the 4 elements of Pepe. And it was MC, DJ, and B-boy, graffiti Pepes, and they're in a sequential order in the rare Pepe trading in series 4. And DJ Pepe is the one I honed in on as like my like alter ego personality, and over time it kind of became its own personality. And I've had him speak at blockchain conferences. He's DJ'd parties. He's going to be at the Bitcoin 2021. He was at Bitcoin 2019 a few years ago. And you could take a picture with the DJ Pepe cardboard cutout and stuff like that. So it's like more like a fun thing. It's also a music token, access to a playlist, which I got with Joe Looney, and I came up with, I don't know how the idea came. I definitely came up with the idea of music, but just through the Pepe talks, like I wouldn't even, it's just everybody's just throwing ideas out forever. And I was like, yeah, I need to tokenize DJ Pepe as a music token, and talking to Joe Looney and a couple other guys, but Joe's the one that kind of put the nuts and bolts. So like, yeah, we could do it this way. So I made a private playlist, and I kind of looked at it as like how at the time Kanye put out an album, and he had a song called Wolves that he was talking that he wishes he could update it after the song's released. And that was like my thinking with the DJ Pepe playlist. It's like, if I want to update songs, I can do that in this. So like, it's like maybe sometimes you release something and songs aren't always, you're not always, you're happy with it as you release it, but then you're like, damn, I wish I could have done this. I wish I would have done this. Even the artwork, I wish I would have done this. So like with that thought in mind, that's how I came with DJ Pepe. It's like I could put songs on here, kind of exclusive music or songs I'm just working on, and then give people a chance to listen to it, for whatever reason. And eventually I also started adding like some of my friends who are artists, their music or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So basically what you're saying is through the access token that you're giving out as the NFT, you can basically send updates of your music to the people or give them access to it?
Yeah, they're able to. I update it myself, and whenever they log in, right now you're able to use it through rarepepewallet.com. If you go to the Rare Pepe wallet and you have a Rare Pepe wallet, you don't, when you see DJ Pepe, it's going to, if you don't own the token, it's kind of like half shaded out. If you do own the token and you flip it over, then it's a red button that pops up saying bonus content, which doesn't exist unless it, it reads your signature from XCP and the Bitcoin blockchain. So as you do that, you're able to click on the token, and it takes you to the private playlist. And yeah, that I can update, but it doesn't have ping alerts or anything every time I update it. I kind of just, from my Twitter account, the DJ Pepe Twitter account, I kind of just announce updates and stuff on there. It's very archaic to how it is now,
Mm. And is it interchangeable in the way that can I use another wallet too, or do I have to use the Rare Pepe wallet?
Yeah, you have to use Rare Pepe wallet. So that's what I'm saying. It's pretty archaic. With that said, I do have some plans. There's another site I'm about to launch his private playlist on, and I got a couple other things up my sleeve. But it's when I made DJ Pepe, like I want to be clear. Like in fact, I have an interview. I'll have to find it in a second, but I have an interview list of questions basically when you want to buy a DJ Pepe, because I still haven't sold all of them. I have about 30 of them left that I've been distributing, but I make it's a game. Like DJ Pepe is like an alpha meme that is a DJ, and he wears like a very flamboyant DJ personality, like opposite of what I am, to be honest with you. So it's like, but I do have that side of me also. So I use DJ Pepe to kind of be very like outgoing and alpha and overbearing, and people probably want him to leave type thing, because it's just, it's on the borderline of annoyance, because that's how I look at a lot of like popular DJs. They're just like annoying, like they talk over all the tracks and they don't really do much. And that's kind of like the personality I got from DJ Pepe. So, basically what I'm trying to say is that it's basically a token. Like that's what that's what it is. The art, the image, the music access, everything like that is like bonus that is available for it. And I say that explicitly whenever somebody gets it. I have a questionnaire that they fill out, and at the end I'm saying you do realize that at the end of the day you're buying a UTXO that is has mimetic magic from Satoshi and Lord Keck, and at any time could end. But the bonus features could end, but it's up to Lord Keck and Satoshi what happens with DJ Pepe. It's kind of got like a magic theme to it, like, because even how he was produced was like mimetic magic on the blockchain on block 400 and I think 416,000 or whatever it is. I just try to keep, it's supposed to be like an entertainment value with DJ Pepe as well.
Mm-hmm. And now with the NFT hype at the moment, you sold some DJ Pepe NFTs, I think. Did you?
Yeah, they've been moving. I've been selling them pretty regularly for the past most of this year, as the NFT boom has happened. People are looking to look at like the first of type things and historic things, and they're starting to come to the Pepes. And so DJ Pepe's definitely got a little bit of more buy side than usual right now.
Mm-hmm. And so speaking in general, what do you see for a musician and artist like you? What are the advantages of NFTs to other forms of like selling your art or your music?
Yeah, so I think you got to look at the fact that collecting, like that's the main thing. Like when we were doing DJ Pepe at the beginning, it was all about collecting all the artists. We were trading with each other. We were selling here and there, but it was like, super small prices compared to what you're seeing now. Like maybe $50 or $100 would be a lot for a Pepe back then. Most of them were in the $10 to $20. So, I guess so when you're collecting these Pepes, it's just weird. Like most people don't get it until you start doing it, but then you start collecting them and you're like, damn, I want more. And you just kind of like value your collection. Like I'm a collector. You see back behind me, I've got records all over the place. I've got shoe boxes full of flyers. I got shoe boxes full of stickers I've collected. I've been an avid sports card collector my whole life. So like collecting is in my blood. And, when I got to this like blockchain NFT, before they weren't even called NFTs at the time, just like the crypto art collectibles, that's what, I don't know. There's like a thing, like some people get it and some people don't. Beyond that, you can use the tokens, like, the DJ Pepe has an access token. you can use them in the metaverses and stuff. People have art galleries they've put up. People are, making DAOs and backing them such and such. The PEPEs, even beyond the PEPEs, the NFTs now, like I have an async music piece dropping next week that, by buying the NFTs, you're able to basically construct the song, whoever owns the layers, and control the output of it, which, all this type of stuff is just like fun stuff that you could do with crypto and blockchain. I'm a Bitcoiner first, and I think I hang my hat on like Bitcoin art, but I totally am into exploring all the chains that are doing stuff, because first of all, markets are different places, and second of all, because there's a lot of different like innovation type stuff happening all around, and some of it may be pie in the sky, and some of it may be something that, like the async stuff, especially the programmable art, like that's all stuff that I could see like even like Bitcoin picking up eventually, like, and I think they are now. Like for many years, like we were the Bitcoin NFT people, but again, before they were called NFTs, but we were getting a lot of flack from Bitcoiners and not XCP, but from Bitcoiners in particular, that we were, bloating the blockchain or spamming the network. And so, we really made a cry to like get, the Bitcoin assets going with people. But largely to know nothing happened besides what we were doing organically. Nobody ever funded anything. There was no money put into even the PEPEs. It was literally a community effort. Then you saw Ethereum take over that space as transaction fees went up. Well, back then they went up like $7, $8, $15 a transaction, which seems like chump change now, but that was very high. Ethereum came in with like these small transaction fees and VC money pouring in and marketing, and they got a lot of communities. A lot of the PEPEs splintered into all these different communities, and you'll find them in every community, to be honest with you. And what was I going with that? I forget where I was going with that, Anita.
I asked you if you think that it will be a source of income also in the future.
Yeah. So what I enjoy about the NFT in particular, like it's allowed me to do my like niche music. Like I made a Bitcoin album called Sound Money, right? It's an album about Bitcoin. So I immediately lose 99% of my fan base because they don't know what that is. Then it's not only Bitcoin, it's hip hop. So, I would say there's less percentage of hip hop people in Bitcoin than other genres of music. So I'm targeting of like 3 people basically with my music. And with that said, I made NFTs for each piece and put them out as audio reactive pieces. And I was able to make a good amount of money by selling those, like whether it be like people just, look at it as like patronage. I want this guy to keep making this type of music, or people that are just interested in collecting like early audio reactive NFTs, or just people that like the art and music and they're just collecting. I think those were the range of collectors of my NFTs. And it just gave, by selling like 5 or 6 of those and their Sound Money music and art, I was able to make 5 figures off of it. When the streaming, you're not going to see that in an independent release. So, it does help. It's a whole new medium. Like, not everybody is built for this, I don't think. Like, you kind of got to be involved, know what crypto is, know like the community a little bit. That's what I have a crypto music and art group I've had on Telegram for a few years. I've always tried to like, explain that we got to like bootstrap this if we're going to do it. It's got to be like, not everybody can just come in and do it. Like you saw, like, for instance, like Eminem's release with like Nifty Gateway, like he wasn't in the community really. It wasn't, it's kind of outside people coming in. It didn't really stick, right? Like, I feel like, I forget who said it, but somebody said like that this new medium, if just because you're a good like artist coming into this space, you might not be good in the space because it's a different ethos, especially like the crypto art is very cypherpunk oriented in terms of like decentral, peer-to-peer, like at the very core, like a lot of us, like early crypto artists, like that's what we believe in. Now, some of the people have come in, it's not so much as that, but I think like we still have that ethos. Even if we're minting on like Ethereum or something, we still want to be the person minting from our contract and controlling it and stuff like that. When there's other stuff going on that doesn't take that ethos, And I think the crypto art and NFT community, they're different, but they're also intertwined in some ways too, you know. I don't know if that answers the question quite, but I probably went on some deep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, how do you pay your rent and your bills from the music you produce outside of crypto art? And this
both. I'm a full-time crypto art, music, and you know, trading, and you know, to be honest, I've been in this game for a while, and I like to tell people at the end of the day, really, Bitcoin pays my salary. So yeah, Bitcoin's given me the freedom to really be as creative as I want to be, and you know, I take that like as kind of like a badge of honor, and I try to promote Bitcoin because of that, and you know, not because of that, but that's just what I believe in, and it's also helped me. So I try to show artists how it can be helpful. Like, even when I started the Silk Road album, the first thing I wanted to do was sell it for Bitcoin, and I couldn't find any way to really do that. Nowadays, it's easy. You got a plugin and stuff. So when people are like, "Oh, Skrilla, how do I get some Bitcoin? Oh, I should have listened to you years ago." Blah, blah. I'm like, you don't need to go buy it. Just earn it. Like, most of my friends are some kind of artist, so I'm like, just earn it. Like, even if they're taking 25% of your payment in, you know, Bitcoin or any other liquid asset is fine, and just you can convert it to Bitcoin and cash. Like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, as long as you keep some of it in Bitcoin, and you know, if you can keep all of it in Bitcoin, sure. Some people are all about that, but you know, some people got to pay bills too. So sometimes you got to get with that dirty fiat too to give to the the bankers.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you also want a circular Bitcoin economy, so you have to spend sometimes. Yeah,
absolutely.
I was on your YouTube playlist. I visited it and I saw the SNL hip hop song there.
It's weird. It's not. I don't know why that's on that playlist, because I went on it the other day to add a song and it wasn't showing, but it shows on the playlist. I did not have anything to do with that.
Oh, yeah, it's weird, because I thought, do you have something to do with it?
Yeah, no.
And that's weird.
Yeah, I even added a song yesterday to the playlist, and I didn't see the SNL because I was looking for it. I was like, why is this thing on here? And I don't know. So I have nothing to do with that. Oh, yeah. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah. It's a lot easier now. Like, I've always been on a hunt. Like, my ear is open to like any of the rap or anything I listen to, any of this music period. I'm like, if they got any Bitcoin lines or any Bitcoin bars, I would always save it or write it down. And you know, every couple of weeks, or every couple of months, it would be. And now it's, I mean, literally almost every new project I put in, especially like underground hip hop, which is what I'm in. There's a lot of underground hip hop artists that speak about it a little bit. And two of the guys I had on Sound Money, especially Rome Streets and Uncle John, they're both very large, you know, top tier underground hip hop guys. And they both piqued my interest. That's why I got them on the project, because one has a song about the dark web and, you know, doing business on there. And another one had put the Bitcoin logo on the back of his album, and he was from my hometown. And I was like, what the hell? I got to get with these guys. And they were already, you know, I knew they were good, but I was like, all right, I got to get them on these albums. And then that came out on Sound Money. And then actually June 1st, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but June 1st of this year, we're releasing the album with Uncle John and Rome Streets that is coming out. And we just dropped the promo, like literally as I got on this call with you. I just had reposted it, but it's going to be a good one to look out for.
Okay, cool. So it's presented just in time for Bitcoin 2021.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, super. So what I heard, I think, if I can remember correctly on the Tatiana podcast, was that somebody said you might need KYC for your NFTs and for your tokens from music, being like a security. What do you think about that?
No, because I'm selling a good and service. Like, in my opinion, like that's what you're getting when you buy my NFTs. So I definitely would never like. There's people that sometimes will say, buy this, it goes up in value. Buy this, and like that's why I like with the DJ PEPE stuff. Like I make sure they know that what they're buying is a token at the end of the day. So they don't have any rights to the image or anything like that. So it's you're selling kind of like the metadata and like the ticket to be part of the artist's journey. Kind of that's what NFTs more represent. It's kind of like really like artists have been super effed for a long time, and it's a lot of times it's their fault, but artists have a more mindset of just creating, and then you had the business manager coming, taking, making things happen, and you need all that. But it got to the point where artists got screwed. Like as a musician, I mean, streaming does not work. Like, as a producer, it doesn't work either really unless you do live shows. Like rappers and singers can go out and do live shows and bands, but as a producer, especially, like, there's not a lot of opportunity to go do that. So production albums of people like me and others, we especially, get the short end of the stick because we have to split our publishing and royalties and all that stuff. You don't get much money off streaming. So then, with the art as well, like you look at galleries, they generally take, like 50% of the sale and stuff. Like with NFTs, you're able to just middleman it. And, I have a NFT display over here that I have my NFTs hanging up on. There's a lot of like displays like Atomic Form and the Infinite Objects and some other ones that, they make this like basically like the idea is the ownership. So like you have art, I think people can understand that. But with the music, I kind of concentrate on the audio reactive music where it's art, it's a moving image also usually, and it's music. So it's like I do both, so I'm able to marry them where I'm making a music soundtrack for my art, and I'm making art for my music, and kind of intertwining them and giving you the idea of what the idea encapsulates with this 30 to 60 second or 1 minute plus piece. And then I'll oftentimes give the unlockable content where you can go get the download of the album or a large print size or other type of things like that. So it's certainly experiment with NFTs. It's one that I think is going to last at the end of the day. I think we are in a bubble. There's no question that any new tech, this happens. If you've been in crypto for a long time, you always see it. But I think the idea of even when you're not even talking about selling your NFTs, like I've minted plenty of things. Like when me and my wife started dating, I minted her a coin called Rare Sasha, and I sent it to her. Like it's a 1-of-1 token. Like we go together. Like I use blockchain, like not just for like selling my art and stuff, but like I also use it as like just fun stuff. What was the other one I was about to say? Like the proof of share token with Can't Smoke a Bitcoin. Everybody who shared my Can't Smoke a Bitcoin video back in the day, they all were airdropped, whatever. They sent me their address and I sent them a token and it was free. And I didn't say I was going to do anything with it. It was basically like a trophy, like a timestamp that you were part of like this journey with me, that you helped like propel me with that song. Like it got shared quite a bit. A lot of people claimed the tokens. It was a huge success. And at the end of the day, it cost me $5 in transaction fees to mint those tokens, of those 60 tokens or whatever. And it cost me $50 to get an ad. I did an experiment. It cost me $50 to get an ad on Twitter. The ad on Twitter got like super low impressions compared to what with all the retweets and shares got with the proof of share token. So it was like an experiment. Like, what if I just organically gave people a trophy on the blockchain saying that they were part of this, and it makes them want to do it? So there's all types of experiments that you can do. I minted, I have an album, like I was in a magazine in Germany, actually. What's the name of the magazine? It's a hip hop magazine in Germany like 10 years ago, where I was on Juice magazine, and Jay-Z was on the cover, and I was I had a featured piece in there. So I just flipped through the pages, took a video, and I put it on one of the blockchains just to have provenance. Like if I ever disappear, then my son can go look at it and be like, "Oh, Daddy was in a magazine with Jay-Z" and stuff. Like there's just stuff you can do that I have fun with it. I mean, it's super it's the most creative space that I've been in all my years, because I'm able to try everything out. And you're allowed to try everything out in the space because there are no rules. There's, you know what I mean? So it's a good marriage.
There are no rules and no intermediaries who say this is good or it's bad.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And what is the new thing you were talking about, the async platform, or how's it called?
Yeah, async.art.
Async.art. And you basically mint layers of your music, or how does this work? Are these basically separate MP3 files, or how can I think about that?
So they broke the ground with crypto art back in, I think, early 2019 or so. They started making art pieces that were Photoshop layers, essentially, where you buy like the different layers, and they have state changes with the layers, you know. So like whoever owns the layer is able to click on, I want this one today, I want this one today, and like basically the art piece moves, and you know, as people control it. So with the music, I actually started investigating how to do this back in like February of last year, and I came across, you know, I knew about async, but I didn't know the owner, so I got in touch with him through a friend, and I pitched him the idea like late summer, and he said it wasn't ready to do something like that yet. And then I think a few other people pitched him as well, and they got on it. And then like late fall, they contacted me, and he said, let's make the music piece. So it's the same thing where I drew the layers of art, and then each layer corresponds with the music track. So you have like a drum layer, you have a music layer, you have a rap layer, you know, you can have many more layers as well. I didn't make it too crazy because it starts getting really intricate the more layers you add. At one point I actually had a bass layer, but then the bass starts like not working with all the tracks and it becomes a problem. So basically, yeah, you're able to choose, you know, by owning the music layer, you're able to pick what music part plays in the song. Then there's a master copy. The master copy has like a burn mechanism, basically, where you can mint that song that's in the state that it is right now. So at the amount that I did was 3 tracks and 3 states for each track. So you have 27 possible outcomes for the song. And so it's basically like, it's like a way for like the user to be part of the song. The artist kind of puts out the outputs of like what the art could be, and then the users decide what the actual art and music is.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And so basically the listener or the owner is co-creating music and art with you, with your structure in a way.
Yep.
Yeah. And are you combining that with an auction on scarce.city, or is this a different project?
That's separate. So yeah, that comes out on Monday of next week, and then the Scarce City auction is May 27th, and that is my Sound Money album. I have created these records. You know, I got these 45-inch records, Sound Money album, with the Honey Badger and Beat Machine on the back, some art I did. And then each one has a different song on it. So there's 5 records with a song on each side. So this one is 21 Million, and this one is Satoshi Nakamoto. And I did all the art for the labels and all that stuff. And I actually handmade these record jackets. And it's been a lot of work putting this together. But I'm auctioning these off, basically 10 records, and then you also get a Sound Money gold frame to display that you own it, and it comes in a nice record box and all that stuff. So yeah, we're going to experiment. Scarce City's been auctioning off a lot of paintings lately, so we're going to experiment with them auctioning off this music, and kind of like basically these are going to be the only 45s pressed up of the album. I do have 100 run vinyl 12-inch, just like a whole LP that's coming out. It is actually supposed to be ready for this auction as well, but you know, because of COVID, the supply chain is backed up. But that comes out in July. But this is kind of just like 10 records on Sound Money on Scarce City with the gold plated. You know, I custom made that as well. So I think scarcity is cool because everybody's custom making their stuff. Like it's like hands on. Like the more like dirty and like hands on you are, like more proof of work, so to speak, the better the scarcity projects do. It really like speaks like you could tell it's Bitcoin. Like the way that things have gone so far. They really. You've even heard some of the bigger names. Some of them say like, you know, the amount of work you put into art piece matters more, which I totally disagree with, by the way. But it relates to like Bitcoin and like the proof of work sentiment.
Yeah, I did an interview with Scars.city, and just for listeners who are not aware of it, it's basically a platform where you can auction art, but through Lightning payments, so through Bitcoin. Only with Bitcoin, not with credit card or something like that.
Yeah, it's a very curated project that they to get into the group, like you have to be you have to be jumped in essentially. You have to be you have to have put your Bitcoin dues in to get into this group, and then you're able to auction off using Chris's platform, which is dope use case of Lightning. Like the auctions so far have been like really fun, and you know I don't think there's been too many problems.
But isn't this also like a little problem, I would say, with all those NFT platforms that are curated? So there you can make money, but you have to get in, and then you again have an intermediary.
Yeah, so I stay away from those, but like I'm a super rare artist on Ethereum. Like they're the you know they're the OG crypto art on Ethereum, and those guys. Actually, one of them comes from XCP as well. I used to always nudge him about trying to get XCP on Super Rare, but I think we're past that now. But I directly like they have a platform where the stuff is up and displayed, but it's on IP. I could host it on my own too, but it's definitely everything's through there's no intermediary. Like all they do is because it's sold if it's sold on their platform, they take a cut for displaying it on their platform like a gallery would, but it's only like a 9% cut. You can't beat that in the real art world.
And what do you think about NFTs on side chains like RSK, or I think also on sovereign NFTs are coming?
Yeah, I mean, like I told you, like, you know, Bitcoin maximalists don't want to hear this, but I experiment with everything. So I'm definitely going to experiment with it. And I've definitely been in contact with the LBTC stuff and going to definitely mint something. I want to do anything I can that's more Bitcoin focused. So like, you know, if this Bitcoin is sound money, Bitcoin is money, Bitcoin is store of value. It's like real estate. It's like gold on the internet. You know, it's used for different reasons. So, you know, I'm not mad like that if other chains want to do NFTs and do other stuff. It would be great if Bitcoin would do it, but it also might be problematic. And it seems like it is because a lot of the big people that are developers and have a say in Bitcoin, they're not actively seeking NFT stuff, like for the most part. But because I'm a Bitcoiner and because I do Bitcoin music, especially, like I would want to mint that stuff on Bitcoin, like especially if it's a Bitcoin style piece. I think it makes sense. So I welcome it, but I'm also going to mint Bitcoin stuff on other platforms. I mean, the majority of all my super rare pieces are Bitcoin music and Bitcoin art, and you know they get collected on there. I think even I thought about it recently. It's like I make Bitcoin stuff on Ethereum, so like Ethereum maxis don't like me, and then I make Bitcoin stuff on Ethereum, so like Bitcoin people are like, why are you minting on Ethereum? And I'm like, I can't win, like. But it is what it is. I'm not bootlicking to any collector or any stuff like that. I'm a Bitcoiner. I love Bitcoin. It's the best. It's forever. It's the only one I can tell you that's going to last way longer than me. But if you think that me as a creative person and artist and musician is not going to experiment and get things going, and if, you know, there's a market out there, I'm going to explore it. And I'm always looking to explore that because I market myself. I am somebody who just goes into like bleeding edge technology. I'm always looking to do that stuff. And, you know, so bleeding edge could be bleeding like it's dead, or bleeding edge could mean it's going to be good. I don't know. Like, you know, there's stuff out there that I've minted that, you know, it will never be discovered, I'm sure.
Yeah. You got to try things out. And What would you say if there are young, new musicians and artists and they want to go into the space? Do you have any recommendations for them or things they should look at or like maneuver around? Any tips?
It's tough out here, but I always say read Bitcoin.org, read the paper, and get your early questions answered about that, and then go off and explore. I mean, like, if you want to mint something easy, you can use on Bitcoin. Just use Free Wallet. Free Wallet's a Chrome extension. It acts as MetaMask, and it's free to mint. It's open to anybody. It's strictly you don't even need an XCP token. Like, literally, you're just putting a numeric hash on a Bitcoin blockchain, and it uses XCP to parse it or whatever. And then you have you can go to Rarible, and you can go to Hen, which is a cheaper one that people use on Tezos. You can go to, there's a bunch of different open platforms that you can try. OpenSea is free to mint, even though you don't mint on a blockchain, which is, it's kind of confusing because it's literally, they bought trillions of tokens so you could mint. They bought trillion tokens. I don't know how they got. They basically have trillions of tokens and when it's bought, it gets added to the blockchain. But it's not really like something I'm into. But if you are a new person in the space and you just want to mint stuff, like, go ahead and try it all out. And check out like LBTC is doing stuff. Some of the other ones you mentioned.
LBTC, you mean Liquid?
Liquid, yeah.
Yeah.
And then look at XCP. I mean, the XCP community is not dead, no matter what anybody tells you. It's 100% alive. And I will say, like, rest in peace to John Villars, who recently passed away. And he was, like, basically the leader of XCP. But a lot of people have, really, people have really been going hard for XCP before that. But once he passed, it was like, you can't let John's dream go to waste. And, John was like probably the most prolific developer on Counterparty.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Rarescrilla, we're coming to an end soon. What is your next? You said the next things are the async art thing, the Lightning auction, PEPE on Bitcoin 2021. Is that right?
Yeah, that's Bitcoin 2021 conference. I'll be there DJing during the conference, and I'm selling some art. I've got some infinite object Bitcoin pieces to sell and a couple other things, and I got some physical DJ PEPEs that are going to be for sale there.
Okay, cool. And where can people follow you and your work?
You can just check out at Skrilla Ventura on Twitter and at the Skrillionaire. That's the best place, man. At rarescrilla.com and at Skrilla Ventura on Twitter. And hit me up. And
okay, cool.
Yeah, I appreciate everything, Anita. It was a good interview.
Thank you very much. And I will put the links in the show notes. And I have a last question for you. Is it possible to use your music like for free if I would put it on the podcast or use it in a YouTube video?
That's a funny thing is that my distributor, they keep Xing people out that use my music, which is BS because I tell them that I want that. Let me send you something. I'll send you something. I'll make it so that you can use something. For sure. Yeah,
that would be nice. Yeah, then I can put it in the podcast. That would be great.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely free to do that. I just don't want YouTube to hit you with like, oh, you can't monetize this because we own the music thing. If you're
it's not so. Yeah, it's more about being punished. Like from YouTube, you can't use this, and so we are taking you down or the video down.
Okay, no, I don't think you'll have a problem with that. But we'll talk off. I'll talk offline.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And I hope I can see you one day. I can't come to Bitcoin 2021, but maybe at another conference.
Definitely. Look forward to hearing.
Okay, cool. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for joining the Anita Posch Show today to learn more about Bitcoin. You can find the show notes for this conversation on anita.link/show. If you want to get the best stories in Bitcoin from my point of view in your mailbox, go to anita.link/weekly and subscribe. And if you have a question or just want to send me some feedback, drop me a line at hello@anitaposch.com. See you next week when it's time for the Anita Posch Show. Music start with yes, delicate beats. Content, idea and production, Anita Posch.